Tools required: craft knife, scissors, scribe, tape measure, paintbrush, penny roller, fine-tooth handsaw or multi-cutter, sealing gun, surgical gloves. Materials required: spray contact adhesive, 9-inch uncured flashing tape, EPDM primer, pipe box pocket, 3-inch seam tape, MS Polymer Sealant, glass cleaner. EPDM membrane and drain pipe are pre-installed for the purposes of this tutorial. Use a craft knife to remove the excess membrane from around the drain pipe penetration. On the left-hand side of the drain pipe, use a craft knife to carefully cut the membrane to fit flush around the edge of the drain pipe. Apply spray contact adhesive to both surfaces. Here it is pre-applied, and press the membrane into the angle change and smooth up the upstand. Use a craft knife to cut the membrane to the height of the wall chase. On the right-hand side of the drain pipe, use a craft knife to carefully cut the membrane to fit flush around the edge of the drain pipe. Apply spray contact adhesive to both surfaces and firmly press the membrane into the angle change of the upstand. Use a craft knife to cut the membrane to the height of the wall chase. Create a patch of 9-inch, which is 225mm flashing tape to seal over the join in the membrane behind the pipe on the upstand. Use a tape measure to measure 100mm into the 9-inch flashing tape and mark these points with a scribe. Use scissors to cut the flashing tape to the previously marked 100mm length. Position the patch of flashing tape on the upstand membrane and use a scribe to mark it to the same height. Note exactly where the membrane join is. Position the 100mm patch centrally to allow 50mm of coverage on each side of the join. Use a scribe to mark the membrane along the vertical edges of the patch and create a prime line. Use a paintbrush to apply EPDM primer within and 10mm past the prime lines. Wait for EPDM primer to be touch dry. Peel the poly backing off the flashing tape patch. Apply the patch to the primed area and press into place until it's fully bonded. Use a penny roller to apply pressure to the edges of the patch. One side of the pipe box pocket needs to be removed so it can fit flush to the upstand. Use a fine-tooth handsaw or multi-cutter to remove one side of the pipe box pocket. Check the pipe box pocket fits flush to the membrane on the wall upstand. Use a scribe to mark around the pipe box pocket and create a prime line. Use an offcut of membrane or piece of cardboard to protect the roof surface and place the pipe box pocket onto it. Use a paintbrush to apply EPDM primer to the underside of the pipe box pocket and previously cut end sections. Wait for EPDM primer to be touch dry. Apply pieces of 3-inch, which is 75mm, seam tape to each previously primed side of the pipe box pocket underside. Use scissors to cut the seam tape to length, allowing for a 10mm overhang. Use a craft knife to trim the seam tape to the very edge of the pipe box pocket underside. Peel back the seam tape's poly backing strip and use scissors to trim it to the pipe box pocket right angle. Apply a piece of seam tape to the remaining, previously primed, section of pipe box pocket underside. Cut the seam tape to length, allowing for a 10mm overhang. Use a craft knife to trim the seam tape to the very edge of the pipe box pocket underside. Use a paintbrush to apply EPDM Primer within and 10mm past the previously marked prime line on the roof deck membrane and upstand. Wait for EPDM Primer to be touch dry. Peel the poly backing strip off the seam tape on the pipe box pocket underside. Apply the pipe box pocket to the previously primed area around the drain pipe. Press into place to create a solid bond between the pipe box pocket and roof deck membrane. Use a sealant gun to pump MS Polymer Sealant into the trough around the drain pipe within the pipe box pocket. Make sure to fill the trough, including all the tight spaces. Apply soapy water or glass cleaner to your gloved finger and smooth the surface of the MS Polymer Sealant to create a neat finish. Use a sealant gun to apply a bead of MS Polymer Sealant around the edges of the pipe box pocket where it meets the roof deck and upstand membrane. Apply soapy water or glass cleaner to your gloved finger and smooth the bead of the MS Polymer Sealant to create a neat finish.